Round 1. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, and welcome, boys and girls, to the 246th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We're powered by ATEBIT.net and those sexy legends over at Audio Technica. And I'm your extremely humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan8Bits. And joining me today on the second half of our E3 2021 Showcase Wrap-Up Special, she's my podcast ride or die. You can find her on dem socials at Miss Allie Hart. Miss Allie Hart, how you doing today?
We are now recovering from the chaos that was E3. It's been a wild ride.
It has indeed.
It felt like... I think we kind of discussed this, where it's like, how do we feel how E3 this time around, how like it went for quite a long time. There was like a lot of stuff, but I think for the most part, I wouldn't want to be one of the journalists that would have to report on it daily, because I think you'd be pretty exhausted by now. But for consumers and people, you know, taking in the content, I think we were kind of spoiled. We got quite a lot of stuff.
It certainly feels that way. Like, yeah, was it always perfect? No. But you know what? It's never going to be perfect for everybody. I think there was enough varied and diverse announcements to keep just about every gaming fan out there happy, or at least excited for the future in one way or another. You know, there were some notable absences there that I think made the void feel even bigger. Like the fact that we didn't get any Sony conference at all happening here. We didn't get an EA conference, stuff like that. So there was some of the big power players from the gaming universe absent, which made, I think, some of the weaker conferences stand out even more in a way, because you sort of focused more on them because there was less to distract yourself with. But at the same time, there was hundreds upon hundreds of games highlighted over the last week or so across all these conferences, and a lot of people working hard behind the scenes to not only make those games but make these conferences happen. So we've got to tip our hat and show a bit of love to everybody there. But yeah, oh boy, if we were trying to do like daily recaps and updates, we would be more disheveled than we are already right now. But we're here for the second of our two-part E3 2021 special. We'll be breaking down all the big announcements from the final assortment of conferences that ran from Monday through to Wednesday, I guess you could say, Australian time, or Sunday through to Tuesday for most of the rest of the globe. So there was a lot going on. We're not going to deep dive or cover off on every single announcement. We're going to sort of highlight ones and dive deeper on ones that I think, or we both think, or we think the world would like to hear more of. And, we'll try and acknowledge and cover everything we can, but there was a lot. There was a lot.
Yes.
But I guess without further ado, do you think we should just jump right in and sort of focus on the probably the biggest presser overall, I'd say, as far as what was marked in everybody's calendars, and that is the Xbox and Bethesda joint conference. So their first joint conference since the big merger last, over the last couple of years when it became official and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was big. It was big. Like, it was overall, I think the conference was paced really well. The variety in the games that were showcased, I think, was very good and exciting. And we got about 30 announcements in total. A couple of these games we already knew of. There was some brand new games getting showcased that we hadn't heard of before. We got a little bit of pre-alpha gameplay on some big up-and-coming AAAs. So they led things off, I think, with about the joint biggest announcement or showcase or highlight in their press conference with Starfield. So they just jumped straight into it. Like, Todd Howard sort of settled things off and started things off. And we jumped into Starfield. We got confirmation that it is an Xbox and PC exclusive.
Yes.
it is coming out on November the 11th of 2022. So we've got a firm date. You know, it's a little bit down the line, but at least we've got a date to look forward to. And yeah, it looks nice. It's running in Bethesda's own internal engine, Creation Engine 2. And at least from this little pre-alpha gameplay slice we got, it looks cool. Nice. They're saying that this is pretty much Skyrim in space as far as what to expect. So I'm listening, Bethesda. I am excited. I'm keen to see a big old AAA that's not going to be across other consoles. So it's nice to see that they're propping up that purchase nice and early as far as that $7.5 billion getting put to good use. But I'm excited for Starfield. Miss Hart, what about you? Are you keen? You on board the spaceship?
I'm not going to get myself too overly excited over just essentially what was that brief kind of like snippet based on the description of Skyrim in space. It's tapped into my interests. So I look forward to see, as it develops and see some gameplay and see if it is going to be my cup of tea.
Yeah, it was cool that they certainly brought the noise right from the jump. There was a lot less sort of people on stage breaking things down. It was sort of clear and concise, where it was just, here's an announcement, here's a trailer, here's a bit of gameplay, here's someone just introducing a studio really quick and then jumping in. So they kept a pretty good pace overall, Xbox and Bethesda, and they certainly set the tone with Starfield. Yeah, we didn't get a huge amount of gameplay, but we got a pretty trailer that set the scene and at least got me hyped for this November release next year. And they sort of went from strength to strength throughout the press conference from there. One that we got a little bit more love on as well is probably just about the biggest Xbox franchise, you could say. Debatable now with Bethesda on board and stuff like that. But we got another chunk of Halo Infinite gameplay. We got a mixture of some story footage, and then we got a big chunk of multiplayer.
Yeah.
On the back of this, after the conference, they did also have like a 12-minute breakaway trailer focusing wholly and solely on the multiplayer, which I really recommend anyone go check out because, my goodness gracious, 120 FPS multiplayer, and the multiplayer is free to play. I think that's such a great move by 343 and Xbox, where you don't even have to buy the game to get in on Halo Infinite when it drops. You can download multiplayer and play that for free as a standalone package. But it looks good. I'm keen. Like, I think after last year's announcements at E3, as far as highlighting Halo, and everyone's like, "Oh, really? Ooh, it doesn't look good enough. Oh, no." I think they really came back strong with this showcase. Yeah,
the tune of the community definitely changed after this presentation. Everyone seems to be very excited now. Everyone loves the look of it. PvP looks amazing. I am so happy to see Capture the Flag. I have never played a Halo game. It's apparently Capture the Flag is pretty standard, but it's only been so many weeks now where I kind of mentioned that the good old tradition of multiplayer Capture the Flag mode doesn't seem to exist anymore. So I actually got quite excited when I saw that in the presentation. I'm like, oh, we can finally play Capture the Flag again.
Yeah, it's a stalwart mode of Halo, and you got like things like Griffball, and then like just the customization you can have on your Spartan, like the armor styles, the color combinations, the custom little add-ons for your helmets and whatnot. And the cool thing is a lot of that is all unlocked through gameplay. Whether it be doing certain achievements or just playing certain modes a certain amount of time, all those components can be unlocked through there. They were very quick to say there's no form of loot boxes and things like that available at time of recording, at least. You know, that may change because it's a free-to-play game, but it looked good. I'm excited. They didn't give us a fixed date. Like, we've got holiday 2021, so we know it's going to come out somewhere between October and December of this year. But we didn't get a month and a day yet. But it still felt good. And I think there was some winds of change around the place where I was like, oh, yeah, this is the Halo we want. You know, This is it. We're keen. We're good to go.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you want to go places fast, you could obviously jump into Forza Horizon 5, which got announced as well. as all these car racing games are, they're just about the prettiest games you see at these conferences. Like, I don't know what it is with car racing games, but they can just make these things look better than just about every other genre. Like the ray tracing that was popping off in this, highlighting this Mercedes and even the Ford Bronco. I saw the Ford Bronco was getting a lot of love. I was sitting there going, I bet you guys are at home going, yes, that's a car. Yes.
Yeah, that one definitely got a lot of excitement in this household. I actually, like, I do remember when we saw Forza Horizon, the previous one that was released, which it was in Australia, right?
I can't remember if I think that was 3. I think it was 3.
But
I could be wrong. It could have been the latest one too.
We were pretty impressed with how detailed the environment was, but this one was gorgeous. There was like so many shots where it just looked like it was like real life footage or like a photograph. Like, it was incredible. So I'm really impressed, and I've got to give it to the team because everyone knows that I don't really like driving games. But the fact that they've gotten me like thinking like, I think I want to play this is quite a feat. So
that should be on the box art right there, because you are very anti-drive outside of, say, kart games and stuff. Anything like pseudo realistic you're not big on. But yeah, the location you mentioned, like, the game's going to be based in Mexico for Forza Horizon 5, and some of the locations and the varied environments looked absolutely stunning. The cars look great. They've still got that awesome drop-in, drop-out feature where you can just jump on and start playing with your mates anytime you want. And then I like that they've doubled down, like with Forza Horizon 5, they sort of lean more on that sort of chaos and insanity, and now they've got these custom modes, like similar to anyone that's watched like a GT Online race or the GTA Online like modding community, where they're making these crazy tracks and cars are like bouncing off these jump pads and doing this and that and the other, and they've really sort of lent into that with Forza 5, like Horizon 5, and looks fun. We don't have to wait long. November 9th this is dropping, so it was cool to see that this has been getting worked on in the background for a few years now, and it's ready to come out in about 4 months' time.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing it then.
Oh yeah. And then we've got some gameplay and a date for Age of Empires 4. So that's coming out on October the 28th for PC. No word yet of if it's going to make its way to console yet, but PC exclusive for now. Obviously, this game is one where you're taking control of historical figures throughout time and doing battles and trying to I guess get your nation to power. I didn't mind Age of Empires back in the day, but I've fallen off the wagon. That's not a shot to that franchise. It's just don't have the time or the hunger to play those types of games anymore, unless I'm buying it out of a cereal box.
I mean, to be fair, like I think the last one I played was probably 2. I know that I had dabbled in one of the more recent installments of the game. Maybe it was 4 or 3 or 4. I can't remember, but I didn't like how it changed. I believe the time period changed a little bit, and it didn't have the same vibe. So OG, I'm happy about. Looking at this one, I'll play it. Like, just for old time's sake, I guess. It feels like forever since an Age of Empires came out. So
yeah, but we don't have to wait too long. At least October 28th. So a couple of months, and you'll be able to boot this into the PC, and away you go. Live your best conqueror life, and make sure your people get what they deserve.
No.
The next one. Arcane Studios, now obviously Xbox, Microsoft-owned exclusive entity. They've showcased their new game, and it's called Redfall, and it's a co-op vampire killer hunter survival game. I like that it's got a bit of humor to it. It's graphically looks like it's going to be similar to Dishonored as far as the character models goes, but squad-based vampire hunting game where it's eternal darkness on this island. Somehow the vampires can control the sun or block the sun on this island there, and yourself and 3 squad mates have just got to work their way through this game, taking down all these bad vamps and I guess saving the day. Look pretty. We didn't get really any gameplay. We just got an extended trailer, I guess, highlighting what to expect in the gameplay. But it was cool to see. It was cool to see that we got a new unannounced AAA hitting the conference stage, but we've got to wait until our Australian winter, so somewhere between June and August of 2022 this thing's going to drop.
Yeah. I like it. Like, I liked, what we saw, but that wasn't in game. It was just your classical, cinematic trailer. I liked the characters. I liked the kind of banter between them. I think I even kind of thought, I'm like, you know what? If this was like a show or a cartoon kind of thing, I could see myself maybe enjoying it. But it's just the whole horde mode, killing mass monsters with one giant creative boss and wacky weapons and attacks. Like, I'm always a bit hesitant to get too excited on anything like that, because I feel like with those games there's usually a tendency to kind of die out interest.
Yeah,
it has to be something pretty unique to keep you on board. I'm
hoping because Arcane, they can write a hell of a story. So I'm hoping there's a nice, big, deep, immersive story mode in the back end of this. Because, I agree with you. Stuff like Back 4 Blood, which was all over these show floors, which is, the next zombie survival game, squad shooter. And this sort of falls into that same bucket. But, yeah, you don't want just the insanity on the screen to override the story and the narrative. At least for me. I'm a sucker for a bit of narrative as opposed to just killing things without really any sense of purpose. I'm hoping there's a big story and there's mission chapters you work through instead of just, now you're on this part of the island, kill all these enemies and survive. Now you go to there, So I'm hoping there's missions and variety to what you do and you uncover what's happening a bit more and get immersed in this world. So, it looks cool though, and first new game exclusively coming to Xbox and PC only next year via Arcane. So that's cool. Cool. The next one's a bit of a throwaway, but the trailer was piss take because it was taking the mickey out of so many gaming tropes, and this was obviously highlighting The Outer Worlds 2. So we've got a trailer for The Outer Worlds 2. No gameplay. No, nothing. Just some funny commentary, and then the name of the game coming up. So another Xbox exclusive. No date, no year, no nothing. But it's nice to see that they are working on a sequel to The Outer Worlds, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, it's nice to see that they're already working on it, and I loved the trailer. I always love that kind of self-awareness and the kind of poking fun. Who else? Someone else kind of did that within this presentation as well. But it's a good way to kind of get people's attention, especially when you don't have much to show or to say. So, I mean, a lot of people remembered it, and a little bit of fun. Yeah,
it's not hard to stand out, I think, because there were so many trailers or announcements across these conferences that didn't show anything, but they didn't add any humor or personality to it, and missed opportunities. And I think what they did with The Outer Worlds 2 there, got nothing but got enough to go, you know what? I remember this. I pay attention. Yeah. This made me laugh. The next one, Microsoft Flight Simulator was finally announced for consoles. Looks just as good as it did on the PC, so it's making its way to the Xbox Series S/X. And they've also confirmed that there's going to be a movie tie-in with the upcoming Top Gun Maverick film, which is making its way to Microsoft Flight Simulator as well. So you wanna live your best Tom Cruise life, you can do that via way of the Top Gun Maverick expansion, making its way to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Just about one of the best looking games of all time, which is crazy to say about a game where you just fly planes from point to point.
Yeah, it's a great looking game. I'm curious if it's going to be to the same scale.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too, or maybe they might throttle back some of the resolution or the frame rate, because getting pretty much the entire world in this game, hypothetically, where you can fly around and actually fly over buildings and areas where you might live or know someone that does, is absolutely bonkers. So
it's a big install.
Yeah, big old game. But I'll see how it goes on the Series X once this drops. I think I just want to try out the hysteria behind this game, because when it dropped last year, everyone was all about it.
Oh yeah,
and, so many beautiful photos and clips going around the internet. So I'll see what it's all about. I might do a flight from Cooma to Canberra. Reminisce the old regional express. See how that feels these days.
I'll fly back to Australia, so I still can't do that right now. So.
That's it. Yeah, you get to the land mass and like, nah, turn around, go back, go back. Okay, we got a big chunk of Stalker 2 footage. This went for a good long while, maybe about 5 minutes or so collectively, showcasing this group of marauders and survivors around a campfire in Russia, and then cutting to various combat scenarios and real parts of gameplay that's going through. Obviously coming to Xbox and PC on April 28th of 2022. So we've got to wait a little bit longer. We've got to wait 10 months before this drops. But there's still a lot of hype and anticipation out there in the Stalker community that we are getting a sequel. And it's funny because there is a lot of post-apocalyptic Russian love I noticed around E3 this year. There was a few other games that look like Stalker's cousins getting around. And it is what it is. Russia's a constant as far as a game locale goes, and there's a lot of dev studios over there. But the whole Chernobyl thing, I think, just leans into so many directions as far as post-apocalyptic and supernatural and shooty and survival, and we got a lot of that this past couple of days.
I'm wondering if it's kind of telling of how long it takes to translate things that are popular at a moment's time when games and other general things relating to said popularity. So everyone was obsessed with that TV show at the time, and I'm just wondering if people were just like, you know what, a game. And then now we have, like you said, quite a few games that feel like they're very similar. But I've never, I don't think I've ever played or really paid attention to the Stalker title. And seeing this one for Stalker 2, it was interesting. I wasn't too sure if it was meant to be a horror or just more just action or action adventure kind of storytelling kind of game.
Yeah, that's sort of, at least with this Stalker 2, I'm with you. I never really played the first one much because it was just a PC powerhouse back in the day, which I did not have. But I like that it is, sort of first-person shootery, action-y, but then it's got that supernatural twist to it as well. So I'm like, okay, I like that. There's some of my favorite things in gaming and pop culture. So I'm paying attention to this one, and it's coming on Game Pass, so it ain't going to cost me nothing. Or it's going to cost part of my monthly subscription when this thing drops in April. So I'll give it a crack next April. Yeah. Just after Easter. What better way to celebrate than some Easter eggs and, surviving post-apocalyptic Russia? That seems to go hand in hand.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
The next one, this, as we said earlier, this game's everywhere across E3. Back 4 Blood. We got another highlight of the characters and just what to expect in the game. Looks fun, looks insane. The enemies look varied enough to keep you on your toes. The characters look unique enough to feel distinctive, maybe. But the cheeky win here with Xbox. Obviously, this is going to be coming day one to Game Pass when it launches in October. So that's a sneaky little feather in the cap there for Xbox as opposed to PlayStation, the other platforms. So, cool. Back 4 Blood. I'm keen. I did the pre-download last night. I set that pre-download on there so it'll be ready day one. So, next one, the Just Cause team. So we're talking about Avalanche here. They announced their next game, and it's apparently going to be a co-op open-world adventure called Contraband. So I'm assuming it's going to be some kind of heist or drug-running cartel-inspired game here. It's also coming to Game Pass at launch. From what I can understand, it is not going to be on PlayStation, at least at launch. So I don't know if it's a full exclusive or a timed exclusive, but we didn't get any gameplay. We just got this, sprawling video around this warehouse where these people are clearly setting up for a heist or a mission, and passing over gun caches and all kinds of paraphernalia, and then we just got the title. So didn't get much, but I'm listening.
Yeah, it piqued my interest. I like the idea of, because it looks not just basic heist. It looks like treasure, so I like the idea of this kind of Uncharted cross heist level kind of gameplays and doing co-op with friends and trying to achieve that. So it's on my radar. I'm interested.
It's funny because a few weeks ago we sort of made point of if they made a National Treasure game, would we play it? Remember? And lo and behold,
good as it gets. Yeah,
we've got it. No confirmation that Nicolas Cage will be lending his voice or likeness to a character in Contraband, but who knows? Stranger things have happened. And talking about stranger things, Jack Sparrow is coming to Sea of Thieves. This is a big get, I think. I'm sort of got a bit of Pirates of the Caribbean fatigue. I haven't watched the latest one, but this is big time for Rare to have Jack Sparrow and this whole Pirates of the Caribbean expansion. You're seeing Davy Jones in there and some like the Black Pearl and all these ships coming in this expansion called The Pirate's Life, and it's free when Season 3 of Sea of Thieves drops in 5 days' time.
It's free?
Yeah, you can play through a Pirate's Life expansion for free when Season 3 drops in 5 days' time. So
that's crazy
that's big.
To me.
That's
because,
big.
Like, Jack Sparrow is Disney IP.
Yeah. And they don't do nothing for free.
No. That was my angle. So yeah, I'm actually genuinely shocked. It's big for Rare. Unless there's some like weird background connection between them to Disney. I just think it's really impressive to have gotten something like that signed up, unless Disney's got something under their sleeves and they wanted to kind
Sea of Thieves TV show coming to Disney Plus, maybe. That could be cool. I'd watch that. Animated Sea of Thieves show.
Yeah, maybe. I'd love to see how they handle those attacks, those megalodons and krakens.
Yes. Yeah, but it's big get though. Like this took me by surprise. Like it's like hand to glove. Like it fits perfectly.
Yeah, it works.
Like, it's so cool. And we've talked a lot. Like I've sort of fallen off Sea of Thieves wagon. I think you have the last year or two. But they've really been building out that world, and we constantly talk about wanting big narrative and big characters, and you can't get much bigger than this type of narrative and this type of character making its way to this universe. So I maybe want to jump back in. Like, I don't like Johnny Depp, and Jack Sparrow he's a similar character that he plays in other universes, but I think it's cool and quirky, and to see him realized in this world, I want to know what it's like.
Yeah.
You jumping back in?
I don't know.
Sailing the seas?
Like, I loved Sea of Thieves, but my biggest problem, and it's kind of a big deal in this game, was I couldn't handle being in the open ocean.
It's going to make it tough to play again.
It makes it a little tough. It makes it just tiny bit little tough.
You just have to sort of stay down in the bottom of the ship so you can't see the ocean. So before we depart from port, you just go downstairs in the cruise quarters, just wait till we get there.
You'll got to make sure that we don't crash the ship and sink, because then...
you'll never come back if that's the case. If you drown in the bottom of the ship stuck in there, you never come back.
Traumatizing.
But Jack Sparrow coming next week to Sea of Thieves, which is pretty bloody cool. We got a little highlight for Yakuza. So all the Yakuza games are now on Game Pass, including Like a Dragon. So cheeky. That game only came out last year. It was one of the Xbox like next gen, now current gen timed exclusives for that sort of day one release. We've talked very highly of this game through our experiences, and now you can get it included in the Game Pass bundle. So that's cool.
I recommend everyone play it if you have the opportunity to.
Heck yeah, it's got so much personality.
It's wacky, like it's weird. Get ready for it, but you have to experience it.
100%. And something else you can get ready for was 128 player mode, which got a little bit of focus with Battlefield 2042. So for those that weren't paying attention with this Battlefield announcement, there's no campaign. This is multiplayer only 2042. That's all they're doing. There's no story. There's no single player. It's just you're jumping in, you're shooting and getting shot. Looks chaos personified. Like, I know we'll probably be talking about chaos a lot lately with a couple of other announcements, but October 22nd, 2021, this game drops. And oh boy, these big levels with big enemy exchanges looks insane.
Yeah, I'm always a bit iffy about the massive maps, but like you said, you can You don't have to play the big maps. So I'm just happy for this kind of style of Battlefield to be back. So
yeah, it looks cool though, and mixing in sort of like real world environments, like seeing tornadoes playing a part into this thing. It looked absolutely insane, but I'm a bit excited. I'll play it. I'll probably suck at it, but I'll enjoy a couple of games. I might swear at somebody, and then I'll enjoy it again, swear at somebody else, and rinse repeat.
Crash a vehicle. We're all good.
That's it.
With your team inside.
Yeah. into a hurricane
exactly.
that has a house in it flying around or something. It'll be a thing. It'll be a thing. Something else that's a thing. We got another chunk of 12 minutes focus. Yes. So it's coming out in August, on August 19th of this year. Day one of Game Pass. Obviously, the cast is huge. James McAvoy, Daisy Ridley, and Willem Dafoe as the stars of this game. I don't know if it was just me, but it looks like this thing's had a bit of a graphical enhancement since its initial debut. It looks a lot prettier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely more refined, definitely more polished. I'm really, really impressed, how, bare bones, is that the word? From when we first saw it, well, when I first saw it, which was the kind of funny, indie showcase that they did, they kind of highlighted it, and it's always been on my radar since then, and that's quite some years now, and just to see it flourish, and just, it looks so clean, it looks polished, and now they have these massive names attached to it, which I couldn't have anticipated. And yeah. I've been waiting so long, and I'm so excited that now I've got a date to look forward to. So, and it's on Game Pass.
Oh yeah.
It just gets better and better.
I love the concept. I love that there's just this interactive thriller is what they're calling, and it's all pretty much just taking place in this one room or this one apartment complex on this 12-minute loop. I'm so intrigued by it, and I can't wait to play it in a couple of months' time. Another game that we'd be dropping around the same time. So we got Psychonauts 2 dropping on the 25th of August. So 6 days after 12 minutes. Looks like more psychedelic, crazy, platforming, trippy hotness that you'd come to love from Psychonauts 1. But yeah, it's cool. I'm surprised that it's actually coming out so soon. I wasn't aware that they might have even alluded to it coming out in 2021. And now here it is, because this game's been in the rumor mill for quite a while. And now it's here, and it's here in 2 months.
It's actually been made for a few years now. And the only reason why I know that is because of James Williams from Funhouse. He loves Psychonauts, and he actually begged to be in the game. And that would be the reason why I'd play Psychonauts, because I want to see what character he actually got, if they actually did give him a toilet like he said. He said, I'll play a toilet if I have to. So
imagine being a talking toilet or something in a game. That's career peak moment right there, I think.
If your favorite game franchise, your favorite of all time, and they're like, okay, you can have a voice in it, but you're a toilet, or a dumpster, you'd still be like, okay, yes.
Yeah, I'd take it. I'll take anything at this stage. I'm getting pretty desperate. But if we bundle the next couple of sort of announcements up in one, so Doom Eternal getting a next-gen update. So it's giving you 2 different modes, so 60 FPS with ray tracing, or a true 4K mode, or a 120 FPS mode. This is also going to be released via a free patch at the end of June, so that's exciting. We got 2 major updates shown for Fallout 76. So we got Fallout 76 Steel Rain, which comes out on July the 7th. And then we also got The Pit, which is a new expedition that's going to take place, but it's not out until 2022. And then jumping down a little bit further there, Hades is finally coming to Xbox. So that's coming out on Xbox One and Xbox Series S/X on August the 13th. And oh yeah, it's also on Game Pass from day one on that August the 13th. So huzzah, 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 huzzah. We also got a Fall Guys-esque game, or those that played Gang Beasts, which was sort of, the game before Fall Guys. We got Party Animals, which was, cute creatures brawling around these unique locations.
Love it.
Coming from what I'm understanding, I don't think it's confirmed for the Switch or the PlayStation, but it's going to be on Xbox and PC in 2022.
Can't wait. I look forward to playing that game. It looks stupid, cute, fun.
It really does look stupid, cute. And those other announcements Doom Eternal, cool. Hades coming to Game Pass, I think is a big one. That's a big,
massive.
big one.
It's been like Hades has been on my radar because it was everyone's favorite game. But I'm always a bit hesitant because that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to like it. So I've been a bit iffy about buying the game. So now I can play it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
No
it just
risk.
falls into that Game Pass bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got a new game from the minds that brought us Limbo. So Somerville was a game that was highlighted. It's going to be coming out next year on Game Pass. Huzzah. It's still got that same sort of distinctive art style that you're used to from those types of games. The next one that kind of made me go, okay, maybe I want to play this. The Diablo 2 remake was dated.
Wow.
September 23, it's coming out. 4K 60 FPS, cross progression, and co-op for up to 8 players.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay. I'm listening.
Wow. I can't believe. Well, okay. Well, you now know that you're like, you've said it on the podcast, so therefore it's now concrete law. You have to play it. Okay.
I'll play it. I'll give it a go. Let's try and line up
Benny?
another 6 players. Another 6 players and try and see how it goes with 8 people on the screen at once.
Yeah, let's see.
I'm not promising that I'll finish it, but I at least want to try this.
All right, you know what? Beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah. I at least want to try this, see how it goes. The next bit of news took me by surprise. I was very happy to see this. We got a new direct sequel to A Plague Tale. So Plague Tale Requiem follows a couple of years on or thereabouts from what I've seen after Plague Tale Innocence. And it's coming to Game Pass when it launches next year. I was a big fan of Plague Tale Innocence, and I can't wait to go back to this world and see how they continue to build that out. You going to jump in on this? What did you think? This
I never played it.
The needle?
I never played the original Plague Tale. It doesn't really look like my kind of thing. It looks very story driven. But I was actually pretty impressed to see that. Was I impressed? Like it was good to see that they were already in development of creating, a second to the first, especially considering I felt like Plague's Tale was one of those quiet, success stories. Yeah, little cheeky sort of double A that came out and won some awards and got some love, and rightfully so. Great little game, and Plague Tale Requiem. Give me more of that. Let's see what's happening with little Hugo and the rest of the French Revolution going on around there. So we'll see. Hugo and the gang.
What was that, sorry?
Sorry, Hugo and the gang.
Yeah. Hugo and the gang. Little Hugo. We got also another chunk of Far Cry 6 footage. This was similar to Back 4 Blood. Like, this was everywhere of Far Cry 6.
Yeah, this and Jurassic
Not a bad
Park
thing.
as well.
Yeah. And sadly, which we'll sort of talk about later, Jurassic Park, so Jurassic World Evolution 2 just replayed the same goddamn trailer that they showcased from Summer Game Fest, but without Jeff Goldblum again. Like, we got the Jeff Goldblum voiceover again, but no, visual sighting of him. But anyway, Far Cry 6, I'm keen. Coming out in October. Bring me some of that madness. Bring me some of that insanity and fun. And looks like there's going to be some heavy tone here and there amidst this chaos. Chaos. We got another, we talked just the other day about our love for snowboarding games and that announcement from Summer Game Fest. And then we get Shredders, which was like a nice sort of chill, really zoned out snowboarding game where you're just watching these peeps grind down this mountain and carve that POW. I didn't really understand the goal of this game. Like, I don't know if that sounds rude. Because they were just shredding, there was no score, there was no time limit. These guys were just shredding this mountain and enjoying their time. And, if that's what the game is, cool. Could be nice, chilled out escapism.
Yeah, maybe like Tony Hawk, but snowboarding.
Yeah. Coming out on Game Pass in December. We got another trailer for Atomic Heart. So a Soviet-era action RPG. Looks quirky as hell. This one was on my radar. I'm like, okay, I'm down for this. So alternate reality Soviet Union in the 50s. Really sort of tongue-in-cheek vibe with some, the trailer was sort of positive, but it was a very, very grim world at the same time. Don't know if this was this its debut announcement, or have we heard of this before?
We've heard of this before. We've heard of this before, yeah.
Yeah, but it's on my radar. No date, maybe next year. No, but no year, no month, no holiday period yet. But it piqued my interest.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a little weird, a little wacky.
Very weird and wacky, but that's my kind of thing. We got a 2.5D sci-fi platformer announced called Replaced, which looked really cool. Cyberpunk style platformer coming out in 2022, coming out on Xbox Game Pass and PC, which is awesome. We also got a new update called Shroom and Doom for Grounded.
Yeah.
So Grounded, keep getting that world built out, and the old giant spider known as the Brood Mother. Holy shit, that thing looks like it would be terrifying to fight.
Yeah, I love that they actually have that mode where people who are scared of spiders, so they can actually switch that on, so they can still, fight and participate. I'm just now thinking, I'm like, well, imagine if Sea of Thieves had to do that for me. They'd have to turn the ocean into like jelly or something.
You're just in like a big like bowl of cereal, just Fruit Loops and milk.
Exactly. But this was also another trailer where the announcer kind of made a little bit of fun, a little bit of jokes at gamers' expense and such. So I never played this one. Like I know I wanted to, but for some reason I never got into it. So I'll have to maybe get it this time around with this new content drop. Yeah,
I think like I've only played it for a hot minute and I played by myself. I think I'd want to get in like a squad and play it together to get this full Honey, I Shrunk the Kids vibe and running around and trying to build a little encampment and survive out in the deadly backyard. But it looks cool, and that spider looks all kinds of messed up. But yeah, that's exciting that they're still supporting that. Like Obsidian have sort of got a lot of time and money invested in that, and it's good that it's going to continue to go from strength to strength. Mm-hmm. Another game going from strength to strength, Among Us. It is making its way all... so the game's expanding to 15-player lobbies, which is live now. And it's also not only coming to Xbox consoles, but it's also on Game Pass for both PC and console. I didn't see a date for when they've said it's going to be making its way to Game Pass and or Xbox, but 15-player lobbies on Among Us. Cool. Not for me, but cool.
Don't want to
be
in that meeting.
The rest of the world's happy.
Oof, no.
Can you imagine just the messy voice chat on
15
that?
People
15 people?
Nope.
God.
Well, technically,
no,
could be 14, but yeah. Someone has to die.
Yeah, that's true. Many people will die. Many. Then we got also a trailer for a bit of a Japanese throwback called Yuden Chronicle 100 Heroes. It's a brand new RPG, which is coming out in 2022. It's got a similar look and vibe to stuff like Octopath Traveler. The art style was really cool with dynamic camera work in the battles. It can support up to 6 players in said battles. And it's also coming to... it's released in 2023 and it's coming to Game Pass. They also announced a sequel, which is coming in 2022. Sorry, listeners. That's called Yuden Chronicle Rising. So that comes out next year, and then the year after is Yuden Chronicle 100 Heroes in 2023. Cool. Exciting. We also got word that The Ascent is coming to Game Pass. And it looks interesting. Another, sort of indie sort of flavor to it. I like the look of The Ascent. Another one of these like role-playing games, isometric view, very cyberpunk graphics, post-apocalyptic. There was a lot of neon, a lot of red, where you're in a squad. Just running around this cyberpunk-esque apocalypse, killing and building. It was like the kind
of like XCOM one?
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, not my kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's coming out in the next couple of months. And the last announcement for the Xbox conference we wanted to highlight is the Xbox fridge is actually happening, and it's coming out in summer or holiday period of 2021. The hype is real. I've committed on this podcast to buying one of these, so I'm waiting to see what kind of price point this bad boy is going to be. It looks like it can hold a 6-pack. Looks like it's a 6-pack fridge.
Yeah, that's, I guess, fair. Like, I think that's what we were kind of anticipating, at least that, I guess. So now we got to wait for that price point.
Yeah, I think I said under 500 and I'm in. But then I also said if it's slightly
and
over,
then
I'm probably in.
I think you caved and said it probably doesn't matter how much it is.
Yeah, I think I just want one. I just want one here beside my monitor and setup, so I can just never. I'll have to get up eventually, but I just want one. That's fair. So if we sort of shift gears and jump into the Capcom press conference, I'm a Capcom fanboy from way back, and it's got some of the IPs that I absolutely adore, but just from the top, holy moly, was this an underwhelming conference. It felt like that, like, you know, at school where you had a project due the night before and they're like, oh my God, I haven't started. I need to just work through the night and get something so I can at least hopefully pass. Mm-hmm. That's what this conference felt to me. And, you know, sorry if that's rude towards the people that work at Capcom. I know they're working hard and making games and COVID and everything, but comparatively, after watching that Xbox conference the day before and seeing all this polish and all these games, and then Capcom coming out and they sort of kick things off and they were talking about Resident Evil Re:Verse, which is coming out next month. That's cool. Okay, awesome. Is that game mode going to be any good? Who knows? That was interesting. I expected they were going to prop this thing around Resident Evil predominantly, and they sort of then jumped into a bit of a live dev diary where they're talking about Resident Evil Village. I'm like, they're going to show some DLC, and then they just cut to a screen with text on it saying that there's Resident Evil DLC, like Resident Evil Village DLC being planned. It's getting worked on, but no dates, no concept of what this DLC is, no graphics, no footage, nothing. And I was like,
say
oh
we heard
my
you?
God.
I was just like, we heard you, we're making it. Thumbs up.
Yeah, it was like, okay, fair enough. Like, I know the game's only been out for a month and a half or whatever it is now, but like, you think that'd be on the roadmap.
They were already struggling with their multiplayer.
Yeah.
So,
and maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's the thing I'm not thinking about. Maybe they had a full plan to have that as a big focus for the showcase, but because Re:Verse had to get stripped from launch, they had to put more energy into that. But yeah, I was just like, man, come on. Give me something here. Tell me what you're doing. There wasn't even anything confirmed for like this year. Like, they didn't have a date attached to when this DLC is coming out. They didn't have anything attached to, yeah, we've heard you, game fans. It's coming.
I'm just most surprised we didn't hear about like any like remakes.
That's true. Yeah, I thought, like, we talked sort of off and on the potty the last couple of months about they might announce Resident Evil 4 remake. Yeah. But yeah, nothing out there. Nothing out there. Maybe we'll get something later this year. Maybe they'll have a Resident Evil Fest. That's what all these companies are doing now. They're like, oh, we're going to have our own con. ResFest, ResCon, ZombieCon, I don't know. After that, we got an absolute bucket load of Monster Hunter-inspired announcements. We got another look at Monster Hunter Stories 2, which is like Monster Hunter meets Pokemon.
Yes.
And the one thing that weirds me out, not only from this conference, but also in the Nintendo, is the amount of times I have to hear the word Monsty. Like, they call the monsters Monsty.
I thought I was mishearing it for a bit, but yeah. To be honest, like, as soon as I saw it was Monster Hunter, I did kind of tune out a little bit.
Yeah.
Not my thing.
Have you watched the movie yet with Mila Jovovich? Have you watched that?
No. Should I?
Yeah. If you want to roll your eyes and have a laugh here or there, like, the Monsties in that look good, but the story sucks. There is Palicos, which is cool, but the story sucks. Anyway, a lot of Monster Hunter content. They also announced that there's a pretty regular release of stuff. So they've got a Capcom collab, an event quest reward, which is coming live tomorrow. The week after, you see version 3.1 release, which has some new DLC and event quests. July 9th will get you a Rider Hunter layered armor set. End of July gets version 3.2 release with additional quests. And then August is 3.3, which has some collab event requests tied into some of the other games. And then the other part that they ended on with Capcom. So we didn't get anything. We didn't get any sort of Devil May Cry. We didn't get any sort of Street Fighter. I thought they were going to announce the next Street Fighter, which was leaked like last year that they're working on it and it's coming out next year. We didn't really get anything on Resident Evil. We didn't get any fucking Dino Crisis again. I'm like, come on. And then they end with this new Ace Attorney game. So Great Ace Attorney. So it's kind of like a prequel, seeing the lawyers of yesteryear. And big lengthy demo that went for like 5 minutes.
And then they actually had to do a disclaimer where they're like, hey, P.S. there's a spoiler here. They literally show you like a whole segment so you know exactly how it plays out. So I thought that was a weird choice, but yeah.
It was very weird. But it's coming out in July across a couple of different platforms. And the Great Ace Attorney. But yeah, Capcom, very underwhelming for me. Very underwhelming.
Yeah. I thought there would have been just more. Although I did anticipate a lot of focus on bloody Monster Hunter. So
yeah, and if we sort of follow similar beats and jump to sort of the Square Enix press conference, similar vibe for me with Capcom there. They had a couple of announcements like, okay, cool, but there was a lot of Final Fantasy. Far too many new Final Fantasy games. So they showed off Stranger of Paradise, which is Final Fantasy Origin, and it's a Dark Souls style game coming out in 2022. What? Dark Souls Final Fantasy? This was the game where this group of Final Fantasy heroes or anti-heroes, they looked a bit edgy. They've gone into this world and they've got to take down chaos. Chaos is ruining this world and they've got to kill and end all the chaos. And they said chaos about 7,500 times in this trailer. And oh my goodness, it did not look like it was for me.
No, definitely not for me either.
So there's demo coming to PS5, so you could try it out soon. I think the demo's out, but it was broken, so they had to like reinitialize the demo, but it's there now.
Yeah, it was
chaos.
It wasn't working for people, so I just think that added to the memes that are kind of generated around that announcement.
Yeah, on more Final Fantasy talk, there's the Ultimate Remaster, which is bringing Final Fantasy 1 through 6 to present day. And they're also coming to mobile as well, which is...
Well, yeah, they're only coming to Steam and mobile.
Yeah, which I thought was strange.
It is bizarre.
No mainline console? Anyway. We also got Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale, which is also a thing. Okay. Enix, yeah, I know you're doubling down on Final Fantasy here, but my goodness gracious, there is a lot of genre hopping here that I didn't ever envision seeing. But we were talking earlier about there's a lot of talk about Russia and Chernobyl now. What can we do to maintain relevancy? And it feels like this is what Square are doing a little bit. Like, ooh, a Soul style game. Ooh, Battle Royale. Ooh, let's do it.
Soul style game feels like it's that they're at least got their finger on the pulse. But then when they did the Battle Royale, it's like, oh no. That one's definitely missed the mark. We got a super brief look at the Legend of Mana remake. Looks good.
So that's a game that came out in 1999, and it comes out on 24th of June. So it's coming out in a week's time for the PlayStation, Switch, and PC, which is kind of cool. We got a little bit of a highlight on Marvel's The Avengers, focusing on that roadmap. Crystal Dynamics said what was coming up, and we got a little bit of focus on the Black Panther expansion that's happening later this year. So that's the War of Wakanda expansion. It's free for all players, so that's great. And it looks cool, looks interesting, it looks different enough from some of the environments and the worlds I got used to playing that game. Will I rush back and play it day one? Probably not, because that game's sort of, in the rear view for me. But
for a lot of people.
Yeah, but for people that are still playing it, the 120 around the world that are still on those servers, they've got War of Wakanda to look forward to later this year. We got then also a bit of focus on Life is Strange. So they've confirmed that there is the remastered collection for the Life is Strange games. So that's Life is Strange and Life is Strange Before the Storm. And they're both out on September 30th on 2021. They highlighted some more to do with Alex in Life is Strange True Colors. So seeing how her powers work and how they visualize when you play, and that's still on track for release this year. And they led off with this trailer and this announcement, but I thought I'd sort of chuck it at the back end. And we got a big first look at the Guardians of the Galaxy game coming out. This went for a while. I think this is about 10 minutes or so, maybe longer, worth of gameplay and sort of jumping between some developer commentary back into gameplay. So it's a single-player, story-driven game that sees you playing as Peter Quill, obviously Star-Lord. It's completely separate from the Avengers game we just mentioned. And it looks like it's nailing the tone and the humor and the vibe of the Guardians of the Galaxy universe. And it's coming out on October 26th of this year on Xbox, on PlayStation, and PC. And also, which we found out later, on the Nintendo Direct, it's also coming to Nintendo Switch, but that's a cloud-based version only. So it's going to be a lesser version on the old Switchy. But this guy, it didn't look too bad. I liked that it had like branching consequences from your decisions. Like there was a couple of times, so it's got some RPG elements where you select to do something and it's going to play out in certain ways or certain other ways. So what did you think about this, Miss Hart? Did this get you interested? Like, did you watch this and go, I want to play as Peter Quill and live this Guardian's life? Or were you sort of just like, yeah, cool, excited for Marvel fans, but it's not for me?
Yeah, more along that lines. Like, there was a few things where I was kind of like, that's interesting. Like, I always enjoy when games let you, like, have certain selections which impact the timeline or the story, the way, like, you know, the game will play from, like, saying certain like text selections or actions, I guess, that you do. So I always like it when you can have replayability, maybe, you know, choose this next time, whatever. But overall, it really didn't get my interest. I'm curious if they've got all those really cool tracks playing in there. That's pretty impressive.
I'm like, we did see a bit of Peter Quill rocking the old tape deck a few times, so I'm hoping we get a nice thumping sort of, soundtrack from yesteryear over the top of this game, instead of just like watered down loose things that Square do without having to pay licensing fees to those recording artists. But it looked like it nails the tone. At least, anyone that hasn't read the comics but have watched the movies, it looks like it's in line with that. Like, obviously, there might be a bit of a adjustment period for fans of the films only, seeing that the character models look very different to sort of the mainline. Like Drax and Gamora, compared to what you saw in the films, is more in line with some of the comic book aesthetics. So that might be a little bit of a processing time required there, but it looked cool. Nails the universe, and I like that in some of the developer commentary they were saying we're looking forward to bringing in characters and some of the big bads that aren't common from within the MCU. So I'm like that we're going to get some new introductions to characters to see these fresh interpretations. So you're coming out in October 26th, so just before Halloween.
Yeah. What was it? Kingdom Hearts is the fighting style that I got from it, where because you only play as Peter Quill, which I feel like is a missed opportunity. Maybe that's what new content will be. You'll get to play as the other characters, maybe. I could see that.
Yeah, you can command them to use their abilities and whatnot. And it looked sort of fluid. Like, I couldn't work out which button they had mapped to bring up your squad commands, and you could jump between Rocket and Groot and Drax and Gamora and then say, do this or do that. So you can chain these crazy combos. It was very much focusing on team play and racking up the big scores, and you saw like the awesomes and the fantastics pop up on the screen or whatever else. So it's got a bit of a fun aesthetic to it, and I'm interested. Like, will this game be perfection? Who knows? But I think it'll be a bit of fun at least come October 26th.
Yeah, we'll see.
And for the Switch players, you can play it on Switch.
Yeah,
but I'd probably recommend playing it on something else.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what that port looks like.
Yeah, so that's sort of outside of a Hitman Mobile announcement where you are playing as a group of snipers trying to determine what happened to Agent 47. The Square press conference was similar to Capcom, in my opinion. You sort of similar vibe where you're like, oh, okay, that it, fine, it's okay.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting much, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I think I was sort of expecting a little more from both of those and then was just disappointed. But anyway, we got announcements, we got conferences. That's a win.
Yeah.
Just, didn't move the needle for me in a lot of ways. We jump on to probably the biggest conference from a time perspective that I can recall, and that's the PC Game Show. So I watched this last night. You watched this live when it was unfolding on stream, and it was fun. I liked how they sort of set this thing up and had a bit of story and sort of a bit of ongoing theme going through the back of it. But they had maybe 30 to 40 games on display during the PC Game Show, and it ran for, 90 minutes?
Yeah,
maybe longer?
It was a long one. It felt like
it was a long one, but it was fun, and I liked it, and there was some announcements that took my attention. Some not for me, but there were certainly a few there where I'm like, oh, okay, I need to know more about this. Miss Hart, what did you think? Because I know you were saying this is one of your favourite conferences of E3.
Yeah, so it doesn't really get as much hype or attention amongst the gaming communities when it comes to E3 time, but I always make time to watch for the PC gaming show. I love what they do. Like you said, they always try to make it a little bit fun, a little bit wacky, a little quirky. I love the hosts that they have on it. It went on for quite some time, but I enjoyed it. It never feels laborsome for me. And we got some good titles out of it. And we also got Gabe. He made an appearance.
We did. We got the big head honcho of Valve. You could see clear as day that he was reading from a script on his computer screen.
Yes.
But it was still
and a weird
still
office.
good to see him there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really...
from his little home office, I was just watching his eyes, and I'm like, yeah, you are just reading word for word whatever your PR staff member sent you for this. And, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. And I like that they had a little bit of fun before that where they sort of marched out. I can't remember the dev, but it was an American...
the guy from New Zealand.
Yeah, based out of NZ, wearing a Filthy Casual shirt. And they had a bit of a skit where they're like, sorry, we've got to move you on early because we've got Gabe coming up. And he did a thing where he was, having an emotional breakdown. It was fun. It was fine. I like to see a little bit of personality, a bit of charm.
He does that not every year, but every time he's presented something, he's usually had like a little bit of a comedy skit. I feel bad that I've completely forgotten his name, but he has the studio New Blood. When they make those games that are like kind of like a homage to really old PC games that I kind of grew up with.
like Dusk and stuff like that came out last year. Yeah. It's a cool studio, and they do some cool games, and I had a bit of a chuckle with that little back and forth before Gabe jumped on. I took a couple of notes for this one, and Naraka Blade Point, which was a battle royale, like a samurai feudal Japan.
Looked pretty.
Fantasy battle royale. I'm like, okay, I'm listening. And from what they were sort of chucking up on the screen, it looks like a lot of the Steam community was listening too. Like it was showing the concurrent players, where it fell as far as interest and pre-sales and people that got in on the beta and all this. So it looks like there's a bit of an appetite for Naraka Blade Point. The Chivalry 2 got a bit of love. And the metal soundtrack over the top of that trailer had me tapping. Like it was so, it's a weird combination going like traditional medieval siege combat and stuff with this sort of modern day heavy metal soundtrack. But I'm like, okay, haven't played Chivalry, but I want to try this game.
It looks good,
at least once.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. I know I'll only play maybe for a little bit, but it does look a little bit silly. Like the gameplay that I've seen from it, it looks like people just have crazy fun just running at each other, stabbing each other. So
heck yeah. A couple other notes that I'll quickly rattle off and then chuck it over to you to bring us home as far as some of the other games or announcements you saw that got you excited. They did a bit of an extended Dying Light 2 showcase, which was weird. I know that like this game's getting made by a European studio, so there is a bit of that Euro to English translation that got a bit lost, but it was just a strange showcase. And then there was typos in the showcase. There was a line in there where they were talking about the lead character being in this, like, I guess, scientific school where they're testing, doing experiments on these kids. And there was a line in it where the voice worker was like, I can never forget about Sue. I can't remember his pseudo, sister that he made befriended in this experimental school, but on the screen text it came up and it was meant to say never forget, and it said never forget, and I had a bit of a chuckle at that one. Another ones, we had like this Vampire Masquerade 2 offshoot that's like vampires meets Life is Strange. It was just weird to me where it was like this angsty vampire and it's like, I just want to find my daughter and like I can't find her, and then she's like looking around these crime scenes and I don't know what that was, but it made me giggle. Another one that I liked was Gigabash, which was like Godzilla meets Rampage meets Super Smash Brothers. I'm like, yeah, this looks like some good dumb fun. Yeah, I would play this game. Gigabash. You can play as like, you know, big mechs, or you can play as big beasties and have these just big shootouts in cities and smash the place to bits. So I'm down for that. Another game that I sort of put on my notes here, Lemnis Gate, which was like this first person shooter strategy game. Yeah. Developed by another studio over this side of the pond. And it's like a 25-second time loop shooter strategy game where, you know, say my squad's going against your squad. I can, in my 25 seconds of gameplay, run in, throw a grenade, take some shots, and then you can counter and you go, well, in my 25-second time loop, I'm going to actually move out of the way. I'll move you out of the way. I'll throw this. And it was, I don't know how it works, like how it's going to translate into the game, but it wrinkled my brain, and I'm like, I want to know more about this. I want to know more about Lemnis Gate.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got some EVE Online, highlighting obviously the big, massive space MMO. And I also wanted to mention Silt, which was like a bit of a side-scroller platformer. Had sort of a muted color palette, looked very much like a Limbo style game, but looked really pretty and really creepy at the same time, which I liked.
Yeah. The art style, yeah.
Yeah, big fan of Silt. Big fan of The Wandering Village. I don't really know exactly what that game's about, but it's like a big village on the back of a giant dinosaur-esque looking creature just walking around the world. And then my last note was, who actually wants a custom MechWarrior 5 PC? ? Because these things looked horrible.
Yeah, it looks like one that you kind of put in the back. Like maybe you just use it for like just as a streaming machine or something like that. I was like impressed, but then also like, yeah, like who would want that though? Probably a fan.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. That, and it's got a devout fan base. The old MechWarrior franchise.
Yeah.
And it got a lot of love because it was the primary sponsor for the PC game shows. So they got a lot of attention, a lot of references, and you know, I guess the fans out there are loving that. So, Miss Hart, what about you? Got any other notes or highlights you want to bring to the table here on the PC game show?
Yeah, like you mentioned a few of the good ones that they had, but other ones that did catch my attention was was it Pioneer or Pioneer? It had like
it was written Pioneer, but
they said Pioneer, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. It had like Fear, like the game Fear.
Yes.
Yeah. This like mysterious, scary floating woman that was kind of a bit ominous and foretelling of something. You know, like it was scary, bizarre. It you know, got my interest, but like I'm not too sure. You'd obviously want to know more about that one before jumping into it. But I enjoyed Fear, so because I was able to kind of link them up, I was like, oh, okay, maybe.
Yeah, it was Russian Alma, and I like too in that trailer and gameplay slice they were showing beta gameplay that had not only, I guess, done by some of the Russian people, but then some they hadn't converted it all to English. So you were seeing some of the options come up in English, like, oh, I can understand what's happening here, and then others it was in Russian, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
But I'm sure it's good. Another game, Tinykin. It looked like it was like it's like a little like adventure game, but it looks like it's like got that connection to like Pikmin. Where you have these like little critters that are following you around that help you out, but the style of it being like a cartoon design, like it's hard to describe, but it was very quirky and very interesting, and obviously anything that has like a Pikmin attachment usually gets my interest. So I thought that one was pretty cool. There was Songs of Conquest, which is a builder, so that usually I'm always like
there was a lot of builders. There was a lot of world builder games that were getting showcased here.
Yeah, and Project Warlock just looks like a good homage to like the old school games, the shooters from PC, very pixelated graphics, but pixelated gore. So yeah, but I enjoyed the showcase. I thought there was a lot of wonderful things in between. I also appreciate that they actually threw in a hardware segment in between to talk about some new hardware that they were being developed. So.
Are you going to buy that funky glove that improves your FPS speed?
Shooting. Yeah, totally. But
I like that they made fun of the global like GPU shortages and stuff like that too. Like that, it was very self-aware.
As well as the pricing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was good fun, and it sort of broke up some of the tone from some of the other conferences that were a little bit more dry and a bit more sort of straight down the line, where this was quirky and they were having fun with it, and there was a story, and they were playing characters and whatever else. So it was cool. I think it was good. Like it was a long one, but like I wasn't there looking at my watch, going, when's this going to end? It felt like I knew that it was going long, but it had my attention the whole way. Like not every game was for me, but there was a lot there. There was so much variety and so many genres that they were jumping around, and there was a lot of Russian games, a lot of Chernobyl focus.
Yeah, it must be the theme of 2021.
Pioneer, and then the other one was what, Chernobylite?
Chernobylite, yeah.
Yeah, but there was a lot of cool games there, and a lot of references, and Lemnis Gate. I just don't know what the heck it is. It's coming to Xbox. I think it's actually coming to Game Pass. So I'm going to try that Lemnis Gate 25-second FPS strat game and see how in God's name that works.
Yeah.
And then moving on to the last conference that ran yesterday, and that's the Nintendo Direct. And I don't want to sound like a hater. I don't want to sound like I'm poo-pooing on things, but I felt like the meme that does the rounds now, where Principal Skinner's like, no, it was the children that were wrong. I feel like I am Principal Skinner at the moment, where there was a lot of people on the social medias where they're like, oh my God, Metroid Dread, and oh my God, Breath of the Wild 2. And I'm just like, cool, man, I'm going to go read my book. Like... It just didn't hit the beats that I was looking for, and it hit a lot of other beats for a lot of other people, which I'm very happy for. But this Nintendo Direct clearly was not for me, in just about every sense of the word. Like, I'm not downplaying or poo-pooing on these games. I know there was one particular announcement in here that got you excited, which we'll talk about in a second. But overall, this conference was just like, I'm happy for Nintendo fans. Like, I'm genuinely happy for people that saw these announcements and got super hyped. And same people say the same with some of the games I talk about. And, we're all have our opinions. We all have our loves and our hates. But this just didn't move the needle for me.
Yeah. You know what? And I think that's like people that just need to be smarter on their wording, where some people say, oh, that Nintendo Direct was shit. And then they're saying, well, no, that Nintendo Direct wasn't for me. So. And
it wasn't. It 100% wasn't. Like,
shame.
It was weird to me that I got more excited about seeing Mario Party All-Stars getting announced than some of these games. I'm like, I love Mario Party. I can play online with randoms or with friends. Like, okay, I'll play some Mario Party. Like, that got me more excited than Breath of the Wild 2 did.
To be fair, like, I didn't care whether I was going to see Breath of the Wild 2 or not. And then they did at the end, and I was like, cool. Like, I'm happy for everyone. Glad you got to see it.
Yeah, but should we jump into a game that got announced that got you very happy? It was WarioWare Get It Together, coming out on September the 10th of this year. So we don't have to wait too long. We got a couple of months, and this thing is going to be in your hands on the Switch.
I'm so excited.
You keen?
Yes, I'm so excited. I wasn't expecting. Like, there was like there was a few people that were kind of saying, you know what, maybe this is our time. Like, a lot of people kind of like threw it out there, kind of like sporadically saying like, this might be our time where we're gonna get this WarioWare game that we've been kind of waiting for. Like, we never got promised it or anything. We knew that we would have to get it eventually, right? So that was nice. It was a nice surprise, and just seeing it was wonderful hearing Wario narrate the entire thing. I think that's the most we've all heard Wario speak.
It He was speaking a lot and he was picking his nose a lot.
Yes. Well, you got to expect it in WarioWare. The games that you play in WarioWare are a little wacky, which is why I love it. So I'm super excited to see that I'm getting it this year. Already looked into trying to like pre-order it. So I'm pretty happy. I kind of like said on Twitter, I said I wasn't really, hyped for anything on Nintendo Direct. So that was a wonderful surprise for me.
Yeah, it was cool. And the second it popped up on the Direct, I thought of you straight away and I knew how excited you'd be for it. And we also get support for 2 players. So you can play this with someone else, which is kind of cool. So sort of circling back to some of these other announcements, obviously, so Metroid Dread is the first 2D game in 19 years from the Metroid universe. So that's, I think, exciting for Metroid fans. They did talk about Metroid 4 being still in development, but there was no trailer, there was no gameplay, there was no nothing. They just sort of talked about it and then kept rocking and rolling. We confirmed, got confirmation that Kazuya Mishima from the Tekken universe is joining Smash Bros. Ultimate with a very long trailer. And then they even went, okay, now we're going to show you every one of his moves that he uses in Smash Bros. Ultimate. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, Nintendo?
Not his detailed ones. So like they showed his stuff, but then don't they usually do like a deep dive?
Yeah, I think they did that in the treehouse afterwards.
Oh, did they? Okay.
I watched a bit of the treehouse. I'm like, I can't do this.
Oh, yeah, that's only for the fans.
They kept going back to the well where Kazuya was carrying fallen enemies from Smash Bros. And just tossing them off a cliff. And obviously it ends where he tossed Kirby off and then Kirby just, did his little float jump thing away in the background, which I had a chuckle about. But
that was cute. My
God, they showed a lot of this. And then they're like, oh, we're going to show even more in like 2 weeks on a specific announcement for Smash Brothers and Kazuya. So tune in, I think, on the 26th of June for that. I'm like, why did you waste so much time today then if you got another thing coming up later? Like, show different games.
They,
Anyway.
I reckon they were doing it to tease, because it starts off where, like the first person that he's carrying is from Zelda.
Yeah,
So,
he
like,
took Ganon down.
Yeah, so I think he was I think it was, they purposefully started it like that with that because at first you didn't see who it was. So I think they were trying to make people believe it was Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Bit of a swerve, but we certainly got a lot of Kazuya in that trailer. We got an absolute bucket load of Zelda stuff. So to celebrate the series anniversary, there's a new mini console that's going to allow you to play the first 2 Zelda games. And it's coming out on November the 12th. The weird part was the amount of attention and focus they had with that, where they're like, oh, and you can see the clock embedded in the game. You can play the game with the clock on the screen. I'm like, who asked for this? Who wants that in the game? Who wants a big, giant, real-time clock taking up like a quarter of the friggin' screen's real estate as you play? Like, I don't get it, Nintendo.
With the game, right?
Yeah, but I don't get it. I don't get
I guess
why.
everyone, I don't know. There's probably more information to it, but yeah.
There probably is, but yeah, what they gave me just made me disgruntled. So, I was frustrated. So we got also some announcements. Yeah, so Life is Strange Before the Storm and True Colors will be coming to the Nintendo Switch this year, which is cool to see. Guardians of the Galaxy, which we mentioned, is coming to the Switch, but it is a cloud version. So, good luck with that and your stable internet required to play that game. Worms Rumble is making its way to the Nintendo Switch, so another Worms game. This series just keeps on keeping on, doesn't it?
It makes me happy, just because it's like from so long ago, and it's just so under the radar. Ago. So obviously people are playing it, and they're just chugging along.
That's it, just chugging along. We got confirmation that 2 Point Campus is also coming to the Nintendo Switch, so that's a game that was announced at Summer Game Fest, which we're both excited for. Super Monkey Ball celebrates its 20th anniversary with the brand new game called Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. It's coming out on October the 5th, 2021. And in my notes, I wrote about Super Monkey Ball, and where was it? I just said, how many goddamn Super Monkey Ball games are there? I had no idea that they released this many Super Monkey Ball games. There was felt like 15 game titles that they sort of cycled through getting up to this new one.
Yeah, I knew that there's like a strong community that enjoys these titles, but I just enjoyed the bait and switch because they showed like the very Nintendo-esque bananas. So I think a lot of people thought they were getting something Donkey Kong related. Although it's more than 25
Banana
years.
Mania coming out October the 5th. We got confirmation that Just Dance 2 is coming to Nintendo Switch. Cruisin' Blast is coming to the Nintendo Switch. So anyone that used to like the old Cruisin' USA games, we're getting a bit of that on the Switch. Dragon Ball Kakarot is coming to the Switch. Nintendo is also committing to post-launch support for Mario Golf Super Rush. So that game comes out, I think, in a week's time, give or take.
Yeah.
So, they've got post-launch support for that with some new modes and content coming its way. Monster Hunter Stories 2 turned up again with more Monsty discussion. So much Monster Hunter Stories across these last couple of days. We've got another look at Shin Megami Tensei 5, which looked interesting. Anyone that's a fan of, I guess, Persona is probably the more mainline franchise attached to this universe. Instead of Personas, they're demons in Shin Megami Tensei, but same sort of concepts. Coming out on November the 12th, if you're interested in that one. Danganronpa is hitting the Switch, so Danganronpa Decadence is coming out, and it includes 4 Danganronpa games, including one that's been expanded from a board game that featured in one of the original games. So, Danganronpa Decadence coming out on the Switch too. One other game that I got excited for, Fatal Frame Maiden of Black Water, jumping from the Wii U to the Switch. It's not the best of the Fatal Frame series, but I'm excited to play some Japanese horror on the Switch, or maybe on my telly if I play this thing docked, because it looks like it's going to be a bit creepy.
Yeah, legitimately, Fatal Frame is one of those scary games that fucked me up, and I never finished because it scared me a lot.
Well, you can go back and play this one.
Oh, great!
On the Switch, in bed in the dark.
Great. I'll play it in the bathroom just to save myself the hassle.
That's it. Stay safe. Stay safe from all these Japanese ghosties. Doom Eternal: The Ancient Gods Part 1 is hitting the Switch. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 come to the Switch. I like that. I'm excited to be able to play Tony Hawk on the Switch on the fly. Sign me up. Strange Brigade makes the jump to the Nintendo Switch and sort of think Left 4 Dead mixed with Indiana Jones. It's actually out now, so it's available now for you to get your hands on. We've got another extended look at Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. And they also confirmed the first downloadable content pack for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. We got an absolute smattering finale of Zelda. It was just, here's this little console where you can play the original Zelda games. Here's the Hyrule Warriors, and then they finish with Breath of the Wild 2. And I guess the big sell point on it is the game is also going to be set up in the clouds, up in the sky.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, I think it's set 2 years after the events of Breath of the Wild, from what I remember reading. Don't quote me verbatim. I just remember seeing something on the internet somewhere where they said it's 2 years later. Could be wrong, but they've committed at this stage to a 2022 release date. No sort of quarter or month or date, but just a year. So sometime next year, they're hoping to release Breath of the Wild 2, and countless game fans around the world were very excited about it. I was happy for them, and that was the Nintendo Direct conference, Miss Hart. Yes,
and that was the nail in our the rest of the E3 conference. So ending on Nintendo was probably good for most people, those that actually enjoyed Nintendo. But it was quite a roller coaster. And then straight after the event, I saw a lot of people kind of comparing who was the winner of E3, Nintendo or Microsoft.
But overall, was a great couple of days. We got a ton of announcements on software, some hardware, and some of these platforms. And just a lot of things to get excited for, not only for release for the rest of 2021, but 2022 and then into 2023. Yeah. So maybe we sort of jump in and revisit our predictions we made from a couple of weeks back. How did you go, Miss Hart? So we threw in 3-ish predictions as far as what we thought was gonna be on display at E3 2021. Did you pass?
Not really. I got a 1.5. Out of 3. My number 1, which was getting an Elder Scrolls trailer. That one hurts. And number 2 was the two famous actors awkwardly talking about a game they probably know nothing about, and I got that in spades. I got about what I think I got 4 or 5 maybe.
You had so many celebrities to choose from.
I was lucky.
You were not short of choice for that one.
I was not short, so I passed that one, luckily. And then my number 3 was Ubisoft makes a poor attempt to acknowledge their previous wrongdoings. So a lot of the issues that Ubisoft has been facing in the treatment of staff and certain people in higher-ups taking advantage of their positions. I said they would do a poor attempt, and they decided to do one up and just not mention it at all. So I kind of gave myself a half point because that is still a poor attempt with no attempt at all. So 1.5 points on my predictions.
I think that's fair. That's a pass. You know, the Elder Scrolls one, like when you announced that, I think we both agreed that was sort of like a gimme.
Yeah,
I thought
we
for
kind of
sure they were going to lead off with that, but I guess they didn't want too many big RPGs taking the flavor, and they doubled down with Starfield instead of a bit of Elder Scrolls 6. But to get mentioned in the opening of that Xbox Bethesda conference, but yeah, no trailer. So
wow.
Took me by surprise. And so my predictions, at least 3 remakes / remasters announced. I won that in spades just off the Nintendo Direct alone. There was remakes and remasters coming out the wazoo across most of these conferences. So, checkbox there. The next one I had was at least 1 bizarre live music performance and at least 3 traditionally non-speaking English announcements done very awkwardly. There was a good assortment of music performances just in Game Fest alone, but you could sort of cherry pick which non-speaking English announcements you wanted. Like the Nintendo one yesterday was ripe with them, with the conversion from Japanese to English alone. There were some weird transitions, and so I'll give myself a point there. But I failed on the third one, where I said Microsoft or Xbox / Bethesda announced at least 5 brand new AAA games. So I got 3. I got 3 out of 5. So Redfall, Contraband, and then The Outer Worlds 2 was my third. So I remember I said 3, but then bumped it to 5 because I wanted to go all in.
Yeah, and, you said 3, and I'm like, yeah, I think you're probably safe with that. And then I think because I said you were safe with it, you went, you know what? 5, and so
so I fell just short of the finish line there, but three new games announced on the way, which I'm excited for. And then the bonus, I don't know if I get this or not. I don't think I do because it was just the director's cut, but I said Hideo Kojima's next game would be officially announced with a weird ass trailer. We did get a weird ass trailer with Norman Reedus, having sexual tension with a box, and so we got the director's cut announced, and it's coming later. So, but yeah, I think I fell short on that one too.
Yep. Well, it's relative to say that we kind of had our finger on the pulse a bit on like what to expect. But it's always nice to be surprised, even if it is not getting the trailer that you wanted.
See, so it goes full circle to that Principal Skinner meme where, the kids are wrong. Where our fingers are on the pulse.
They're like,
it is the children.
They said to me, how about Space Skyrim? And I'm like, no.
No.
I don't want that.
Not at all. Not at all. So I thought we'd sort of finish off this episode with our respective top 5s from E3. So this could be conferences, this could be game announcements, this could be hardware, or just anything from this last week as far as things you wanted to highlight, and then we'll talk about our biggest letdowns, then close down the show. So Miss Hart, what is your number 5? What is your number 5 on your top 5 list?
Yes, so my number 5 is the Devolver Digital Showcase and the games attached to it. I always enjoy it. So it was just as good this year, and they had some pretty good games attached. So that's my number 5.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The Devolver Showcase was fantastic. It's more Devolver. They know what they do, and they just stick to it and just perfect that secret sauce. Mm-hmm. My number 5, I went with a little game mention. I went Evil Dead the game,
of course,
which looks surprisingly good from a graphical standpoint, but it looks like it nails the tone from the Evil Dead universe, and I can't wait to kill all the Deadites with my boomstick and chainsaw.
My number 4 is the Wholesome Direct overall. I loved it. I feel like they really really made themselves present amongst all the conferences, and especially having 70 titles to present and giving smaller devs an opportunity to showcase their titles. I just think it's always a great mix. So Wholesome Direct is my number 4.
100%. 70 titles. That's
70.
70, listeners. 70. My number 4, I've jumped into the Netflix Geeked Week situation here, and I wanted to highlight all the content that is going to be coming to Netflix from the game universe in the future, such as, Cuphead, Resident Evil with the live action series with the animated stuff, the Far Cry Blood Dragon spin-off, and then Witcher Season 2. So that's my number 4 from my top 5.
Yeah, got some really, really good TV shows coming up. Can't wait. My number 3 is a little game that came into my radar because of Games Radar and their Future Games event. A game called Timberborn, where it is a city builder, which everyone knows that I like, but you're beavers. So it's a beaver city builder. And I'm sorry, that's a win-win in my book.
Take my money.
Take all of it.
Timberborn. And it's not just like, you're not building like little dams.
It's not
like,
just
you're
dams.
Not building... Yeah, it's not dams. Like you're literally building cities.
You're building up the world after like the cease of existence of humanity, I believe. So it's just beavers.
It's so great, and it's so you. It's such a you game.
Yeah, it's very much.
My number 3 is Halo Infinite. I think it's gotten itself on the right track. It's gotten a lot of fans, both old and new, excited for when this comes out at the back end of this year. What they're doing with the campaign and then the free multiplayer. I'm excited for this to drop in my hands later this year on Game Pass and play some of that multiplayer. Try some of these new weapons and these new mechanics and things they brought from the previous versions of this game, mixing with some of these new concepts that you're seeing in a lot of FPS titles now, and it looks so pretty. And I cannot wait to try and be jumping around my shotgun and probably getting headshotted with people using battle rifles because there's so many good players in this game. But Halo Infinite looks like it's destined for success when it comes out later this year. Touch wood. We want to see that. We don't want negative review scores in this game to fall on its face. We hope everyone involved sees some success. So Halo Infinite was my number 3.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to finally playing Halo. My number 2 is the WarioWare announcement. I wasn't expecting it. It was such a wonderful surprise. I got so happy and so excited. And it was pointed out to me that a lot of people were so excited about other things in Nintendo, and I was just there cheering on WarioWare like it was, my Breath of the Wild too. So yeah.
Rightfully so. Great announcement, and that was done specifically for you. It felt like
yes,
that announcement.
100%.
There's a lot of WarioWare fans out there. I saw a lot of positive chatter on the Twitters when this was announced, so it's good to see. My number 2 is the Xbox and Bethesda press conference. I thought amongst all the presses, this one sort of stood out, at least from me and what I'm looking for in these and the games and the genres and everything. I felt it was just nice and tight. They didn't get too out in the weeds as far as too many people on stage talking. It was just they let the games do the talking. The messaging was clear and concise. There wasn't like, it was world exclusive or console exclusive. They were the only real 2 things you need to understand. There wasn't these other little asterisks where you had to go read a manual to understand what that exclusive term meant, So we know what's coming up. They announced some new exclusive titles that are only coming to their platforms. They showcased a lot of cross-platform, multi-platform titles, and it just felt good. It felt like Xbox and Bethesda are walking hand in hand in unison, and the future is bright for that budding relationship there. So that's my number 2.
And I pretty much agree with you because my number 1 is just Game Pass hype. All through the Microsoft event, I just could not believe the amount of times we found out titles were either coming to Game Pass that weren't previously on it, or the new exclusive titles that were going to be on Game Pass day 1. And I just, it was unfathomable because anyone that, is obviously attached to it already knows the amount of like value you get out of a Game Pass, but just knowing that these day one drops of these new exclusive titles, we're going to be able to just play it like straight away. You're not going to have to worry about pre-ordering it. You're not going to have to worry about saving some money aside. We're all going to be able to play it day one. So the hype over Game Pass, it was pretty damn strong.
Yeah, it's something that we sort of scream from the rooftops very regularly here at the Hungry Gamers, and it's the best value in gaming, and it continues to get better. Like, not only with the games that are coming through Xbox and Microsoft-owned studios, but seeing a lot of these other third-party studios jump on board and throw their game on Game Pass day one, where it still is available on other platforms. It's big, and it shows that the world en masse is behind this service, and if you've got an Xbox and you don't have Game Pass, like, you're doing it wrong. Yes. That's the short version. You are doing it so wrong, because $10 a month gets you so much. That can buy you 2 coffees in a month if you want to break it down to other things. $10, it's money, and it's a hefty sum in some regards with the way the world is. But if you can afford to put aside $10 a month to your gaming, that's the way to do it. That's the way to maximize your return on investment with Game Pass. And so many games coming out on it over the next several months and several years to get excited for.
Yeah.
My number one announcement stood above all others. It couldn't get close. Like, my jaw was on the floor with this. I'm all in on Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora as my number one announcement.
What?
I'm lying. It was shitty, and I have got zero interest in that game, but I thought I'd do a little swerve here just to build up a little bit of slight anticipation and doubt as far as my gamer card. So yeah, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora kicked off the number one spot, and I'm giving my number one to the people. I'm giving my number one to the developers, the publishers, the people behind the scenes that make these conferences go, because the world is a mess. People are dying, people are sick, COVID is impacting everything. And the fact that we still got an E3 this year amidst all this bad stuff that we're all dealing with on the flow on from COVID, and the fact that we got so many fantastic press conferences from so many companies during this World on Fire event that we're going to remember for years and years and years, is a testament to everyone involved. So I'm going to say my number one from E3 or from this past week is the fact that we got these showcases in the first place. We got these conferences, we got people, showing their passion projects, showing these things that they make, and, that we get to experience, we get to play, and we get to watch. And I just want to send all the love to the people involved in every facet of these conferences, because, it allowed us to forget what's going on around the world for a few days as well. So, that's my number one. A big sort of unanimous thank you to everyone involved. And looking forward to future E3s that we can hopefully constructively criticize, because that's what we're trying to do here. I'm not pooing on anyone unnecessarily. I'm trying to come at it from a good angle. And much love to everybody that made these things happen.
100%. For the people.
Yeah, even the guys at Ubisoft, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, there's people behind that game grinding and putting the hours in, but that game is not for me. No way, no how. James Cameron, put your money into making more Alien films, please and thank you. Or more Terminators. None of this Avatar nonsense. Anyway, we're going to sort of shift gears and talk about our biggest letdown or letdowns from E3 or this games week of announcements. Miss Hart, what was the things that sort of made you feel a bit sad this week?
Where the fuck was my Elder Scrolls? Where was
Here.
I was just so damn sure. Yeah, I'm over it kind of. I'm hoping that means I get to see it soon. Maybe they'll have a nice little event where they'll show it then. I just don't understand why they didn't show it. Anywho, and the other one was no Splatoon 3. I thought we'd have gotten some Splatoon.
I thought that was missing. We did get something that reminded me a bit of Splatoon. It was called Raw Men. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Where it was like
PC.
That gave me some Splatoon vibes a little bit.
A little. But
definitely no Splatoon.
I kind of thought that I'd see Splatoon, but oh well.
Too busy getting
have
excited for Monsties and Zelda.
Yeah, that's right.
And Metro Dread. My biggest letdowns, no goddamn Dino Crisis. Capcom, we've talked about what happened with their conference. No Dino Crisis. Again, no remake, no remaster, no new entry. Will it happen eventually? Probably not, because I'm used to getting my heart broken. But I'm holding out hope. And my other biggest letdown was, it just felt like there was this big chasm left in E3 with no Sony, with no EA. There was, some big power players absent from E3, and Microsoft and PC Game Show and Nintendo and Square Enix and Co. They all did well and they showed some cool stuff, but there wasn't that typical, the David versus Goliath. Oh, not really. It's Goliath versus Goliath, I guess. It's typically always Xbox and Sony. That's the two that are always at loggerheads as far as who won. Did they outperform them? And because there wasn't that measuring stick there, Xbox sort of, I wouldn't say wins it by default, because they still had to put a good conference together, but there wasn't Sony in their raft of AAA exclusives that we get year on year at these types of things to talk about and debate. So
they were too scared.
Yeah, having those guys and gals from Sony and EA missing left a little hole in my heart. It did.
Oh, that's a damn shame. I think we were spoiled for choice. I think we got plenty. We did. So.
We did. We got, several hundred new games. I don't know the exact numbers, but we got several hundred new games announced, updates to several hundred more. A lot of these games coming out over the next few months. Xbox, you can get on the ID at Xbox, and there's like 40 demos of games that were showcased over this past week. You can download and play for free right now.
Yeah, what kind of demo should we download if we were to access the Xbox ID demos?
Well, I'd certainly recommend a little old ditty called Trigger Witch, which is done by our friends at Rainbite Studios and written by Australia's John O'Peck, 8-bit stalwart here. That is available to play. I ran through the demo during the week, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time. I haven't played many twin sticks in a good long while, so there was a bit of reconfiguring of the brain and the grey matter to try and make it happen, but it's fun, it's vibrant, it's quirky. And then it's violent, which is just a crazy combination. Like, it's so cute and charming, and then there's just, shooting the hell out of everything. I'm all for it.
Nice.
I'm all for it. And I cannot wait to play the full release of that game over the coming weeks or months. So, check out Trigger Witch by Rainbite, available to download for free on the Xbox Store or Marketplace. You can try the demo and get a little taste before it comes out in full in the coming weeks or months. But Miss Hart, that brings us to the end of our E3 2021 coverage. Anything you want to say before we shut down the studio? Listeners, we are not going to be bringing you a normal episode of THG next Monday. So we are having like a 10-day break or something like that, if my maths is correct. So we will be back with episode 247 in a little under 2 weeks' time. So enjoy and digest this E3 coverage, and then just keep your ears occupied by listening to the rest of the content over at 8bit.net. But Miss Hart, anything you want to say?
Yeah, join us on Discord if you haven't yet, so we can all discuss. Maybe we poo-pooed something that you really liked. Maybe we both mutually liked something, or maybe you're just interested in a little bit more information. Either way, join us on the Discord, and we can all have a lovely chat together.
Hell yeah. We debate is healthy, and there's things that we might have talked about that you didn't, and we can discuss that, and vice versa. So hit us on them Discords, or you can hit us up on the socials. You can find Ali at Miss Ali Hart, find myself at Brendan 8bit, or find 8bit at We Are 8bit. But until next time, 8bit Nation, much love
and stay hungry.
And check out audiotechnica.com, what they do for the best in audio-based equipment.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.
I fitted that in just in time.
That's what he said.